So I'm inviting you. So when you go on your Instagram, you should have an
Click on
invite.
your live, huh?
Yeah, you should have an invite to join. Now I want to see. Once you join, I want to see if I can also add Reg to it too. Reg Prabhu, what is your Instagram name?
I don't really use it.
I love it. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but Vraj mixed this track with a chisel and a hammer. I don't know if people realize that, but
Like the chiseled nails, the chiseled chest of Ornakashi Prabhu.
okay. So I sent you a request to join your stream there, Vish.
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
Hey, everybody.
Gauravani is unable to join. Let me try this again.
Looks like we got Himalata. What's up, Himalata? How are you? How are you? All right. Looks like I'm joining you there also, Vish. All righty.
Okay, there we go.
So welcome everybody to our completely ad hoc presentation here. I'm on with my dear friends. I guess we're live on Vish's Instagram, and we're also live on YouTube and Facebook with StreamYard. So
Nishingadev is here. Nishingadev is there.
is he in this camera, Vish? So, yeah, well, really nice to be with you guys today. For those of you who don't know, I mean, everybody in the whole universe, I think multi-universes know Vishwambar. Everyone knows Vishwambar. But for those who don't know, this is a very respected and beloved friend of ours, Vrajadam. And Vrajadam is in Brisbane, in Australia. And Vrajadam, he basically co-produced and kind of mixed this whole track that has now been released today, called The Armor of Narasimha. And the incredible thing is we had chased... I had spoken to so many people. I mean, Vish knows, I think Vish had given up on the idea that the track was ever going to get finished because, we had done all this work. We had done our parts. We had devotees, Colin and Nityananda Prabhu from Sanskrit Strings. They had already laid all their stuff on, and the track was just languishing. And we were looking for someone to add some beats, some life, to create some little style with the track. Right, Vish, you remember where we were at that point?
Absolutely, and the amazing thing is that these devotees are all international. I mean, William Collins from the UK, and Nityananda Prabhu is in Gujarat, India, and then and definitely we were. I mean, it's like you want to offer the best offering, right? And Gaura, you kept saying you were like, when are we going to record the Nishina Kavacha again? This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing right now. Let's do it the best we can. Me, I'm like, but wait, COVID's happening. We need to release it right now. Now there's another strain of COVID. It needs to be released right now for everybody.
This is the strain of COVID that needs the Narasimha Kavacha. Well, don't worry. Apparently, here in Maryland, 7 people just got COVID. So don't worry, Vish. We got another strain of COVID.
Yeah. And the other world problems keep piling up, and the world needs Nishikadev now more than ever before, right?
That's right. The Ukrainians need Narasimhadev, and the Russians need Narasimhadev. And it's funny because this graphic that we let me see if I can share that. Do I have that here? This graphic.
A minute ago.
Yeah. I'll pull it up in a second. But this graphic was designed by a Russian person. What's his name, Vish?
His Instagram name is Gayatri. Shout out to Gayatri in Russia. He did this beautiful he did the original art for this, and of course Gaura has technoed it up.
Yeah, let's see if I can.
He's drum and bassed it up in line with the track that also. Anyway, so we were talking about how we couldn't finish it, we couldn't complete it. We had the art, we had these amazing musicians on it, and we were at a place where it was just like, okay, where is this going? Where do we want it to go? And then it got shipped to Brisbane, Australia, right?
Yeah, well, I was talking to people all over the world. In fact, I had even bought. This is how desperate I was. I was like, okay, first of all, this track, and we'll play this track for you a little bit later here. But this track, it's in 7. Okay, so or 14, depending on how you listen. So Vrejadam, when you first heard this track, what did you think we had lost our minds? What were you thinking?
When I first heard it, is there an echo for it?
No, I'm not hearing an echo.
Okay.
Vish,
it might be from your side.
oh, are you hearing an echo?
A little bit.
Okay, I can put my headphones on. Let's see.
Let me know if it's from my side. I'll put my headphones on too.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it, but you guys tell me. Still an echo there?
It's better.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it
All
better?
right.
We're very technical here. I don't know if people realize that.
So, firstly, it was just amazing for me to be able to work with you guys. I first met you guys in 2009 when you came to Australia, and a wave of kirtan had started here. But when you guys came, you did a tour. It was Gauravani and the Mayapuris in 2009, and you toured the east coast of Australia. It was organized by my good friend Sitapati and Krishnapad. And it was just such an epic tour, and it just inspired everyone so much to do kirtan. It really was like this wave of kirtan just struck the east coast of Australia when you guys did that tour. And it just inspired me, and it's inspired all my devotee friends just to increase our doing of kirtan, of sharing kirtan with other people, and just the way that you shared kirtan with others, people who'd never done kirtan before, outside of a temple situation, like directly to the public, people who have never heard kirtan, and you just really inspired us at how you did that. So for me to be able to work with you guys finally, like that was in 2009, to be able to work with you guys.
Well, at the time when we were on tour, you did a bunch of videos, and a lot of devotees may not know that, but a lot of the cool videos from our tours of Australia, including there's a Dhammadarastika video that it's like myself, Vish, and Janavi.
That was so epic.
It's a fantastic, and the video really makes it epic. That's what your presentation of it. And then also, did you want to say something about that, Rajadam?
Oh no, the video is not as epic as the rendition of that Dhammadarastakam with Vish on the drum, you you were singing, Janavi was on violin, Kishore was on the wampas, I believe, and it was just, I don't know how you guys came up with that. I'm pretty sure you didn't rehearse any of that.
No. Rehearsal? Vish, have you ever heard of such a thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. Yeah, just how it came. It was like it was, a performance that you'd rehearsed over and over again, and then you presented it to the Mahaprabhu Melbourne Temple, in this pristine performance. But you just made it up on the spot. It was just incredible.
Well, I mean, you've got Vishwambar and you've got Janavi, and basically all I need to do is be a traffic cop because these two incredible musicians. I mean, at some point, it's funny. You know how sometimes people have these experiences where they look back and they go, I had no idea that was happening, and I regret that I didn't realize it. I never had that. I just want to say that. When I was traveling with Vish and when I was traveling with Janavi, there were times where I'd look over and I go like, I know that this is going to end, but my gosh, this is incredible right now.
That's That's how it felt. It was just something very special. And so now here we are in 2022, and I get to work with you guys, and it's been a dream since that time. And I even remember Sitapati. I'm not sure if you remember Gauravani, but Sitapati, he was talking to you at one point, and he said, "Oh, Vraj does some electronic music stuff, you know." Maybe it was in passing or something. But I didn't think at that time that I would ever get to work with you in this kind of capacity of working together on a devotional project, and it's finally happened. So well,
so before we go further, we're going to be telling the story of Narasimha Dev a little bit. We're going to be talking about our connection with the Kavacha, but just to kick it off, let's play a little bit of the track. I think I've got it queued up to do that. Do you guys have any preference? Should I start at the beginning or should I start at the end? Because we're not going to play all 9 minutes of this track. So Vish, what should I play? What do you think?
God, what's a good section of it to play?
I mean, we could go from the crazy solos, or we could leave that as a surprise.
Okay. Go from the right before the solos and a little bit into that, and then
Okay, let me see if I can pull this off. So while we're listening, here's a picture of Lord Narasimha Dev. Let's see what I can do.
And this is the cover art by Gayatri on Instagram, and Gaura put it together like this. And one other thing that I want to share while this track is getting queued up is, Rajdam, you may not know this either, and is that, so you take the track, you produce it, and we are touched by it. I mean, everyone we've played it to, they say their hair stand on end. My kids have been dancing to this. My daughter's always like, why don't you make music with beats and stuff?
Why don't you be cool, Dad? How come you're so old and not cool?
And so she wants to hear this track over and over again.
She's a good dancer too. Yeah. Anyone ever seen the videos of Vish's family grooving to their dance party, the shaped dance party? All right, I have a section queued up, Vish. So let's see. Let me see if I got the right section. If you're not happy with it, tell me, and I'll find a new spot.
I'm happy with every section. Just
okay. All right. Let's see here. You guys hearing that?
Surarajal pradapatu padom me nrihalishwara sahasra shirsha purushaha patu me sarvashastanum mahogra purvata patu mahaviragrajognita mahavishnur dakshinetu mahajvalestu nairita paschime patu sarvesho dishi me sarvato mukha Narasimha patu vayavyam somyam bhushana vigraha Ishanam patu bhadro me sarva mangaladayaka Samsara bhayatam patu Yor nikeshari.
Here it comes.
Idam Narasimha Kavacham Prahlad Mukhamanditam Bhakti Manya Pate Naityam Sarva Pape Pramuchyate Putravan Dhanavan Loke Dirghayurupajayate Yam Yam Kamayate Kamam Tam Prapnotya Samshayam Sarvatra Jayam Apnoti Sarvatra Vijayi Bhavet Yantarikṣa divyanam grahanam vinivaranam Vishchikoraga sambhuta vishapaharanam param Brahma rakshasha yakshanam durotsarana karanam Bhujeva kalapatre kavacham likitam shubham Karamule tritam yena siddheyu karma siddhaya देवासुरमनुष्येषु स्वं स्वं एव जयं लभेत् एकसन्ध्यं त्रिसन्ध्यं वयापतेन्द्रियतो नरः सर्वमङ्गलमङ्गलम्.
Should I jump ahead here, or are we good? How you guys feeling about this?
सहस्राणि पते सुधात्मनां नृणां नवचस्यास्य मन्त्रस्य मन्त्रसिद्धि प्रजायते मन्मेन मन्त्रराजेन कृत्वा भस्माभिर्मन्त्रणं तिलकं विन्यसेद्यस्तु तस्य ग्राहा वयं हरे त्रिवारं जपमानस्तु तं पर्याप्य मन्त्रशब्दसयेद्यो नरो मन्त्रं निसिंहाध्यानमाचरे तस्य रोगाः प्रणश्यन्ति ये चक्षुकुक्षिसम्भवम्.
I just can't, I can't stop here, I mean, come on.
That was fun. So much fun.
Oh, man. Well, I just got to say, Rajadam really, he took it to the next level, and just want to thank you incredibly for your support with this track, really. You are an artist par excellence. We're so grateful that you took part in this track.
No, the pleasure was all mine. Honestly, it was so good to work. Like listening, the amount of times I had to listen to that track. Actually within the Kavacha, it says that if you chant the Kavacha 32,000 times, you get some amazing benefit. And I did the calculation, and I didn't listen to it that many times, because if you chanted it 32,000 times, like end to end, continuously, you'd have to do it continuously for about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you like allocate 9 minutes for each kavacha. So I didn't listen to it that many times, but it was just such a spiritual meditation to work on it. Just listening to that stotra over and over again. It was a real meditation. It was beautiful. Yeah.
So, okay, let me jump here. We got a question here. What platforms can we find the song on? So it's currently available on Amazon Music, on Apple Music. What else did I see it on? I couldn't find it on Spotify this morning, but it's coming. It's on everything. You'll get it everywhere. This Narasimha Kavacha is just going to be covering everything. We're wallpapering the world with the Narasimha Kavacha.
Well, that's the amazing. You guys don't know, but we didn't think this track was getting released today. Like, we had no idea when how long does this platform say that they give you like 40 days?
Yeah, it's right. It says, exactly.
Sometime within 40 days, this track is going to release, and they don't give you a date when it's going to come out or anything. And we literally put it on, this is all Nrsingadev, like just.
So tell them what happened, Vish. Tell them how you and I were talking like 3 days ago. We were like, well, what date should we choose for releasing this song?
And we're like, there's no way it's going to release in 3 days. There's no way that they're going to get it together, this platform, to release it in 3 days. They say up to 40 days. So we're like, but let's just put Nishinga Chaturdasi. Let's just put, what is it, May 14th. Let's just put it on there, and we'll see what happens. Nishingadev wants it, fine. We won't know when it's releasing. We had wake up today to a text from Gaura as I'm getting ready, sending pictures of it being on all the platforms today on Nishinga Chaturdasi. I mean, is it still Nishinga Chaturdasi in Australia?
It's 20 past 10, and tomorrow will be Nishinga Chaturdasi. Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on where you are in the world, right? Lunar calendar, like. So yeah, actually what happened was I was trying to do all this stuff in addition to my normal work. I was trying to get this stuff done, and it's like all happening, and then I had a bunch of japa to do. So I'm up chanting, and then it's becoming tomorrow, and I was just thinking, I wonder if the track just got released. Like, it's technically the day, and I went, and boom, there it was. It was like I couldn't believe it. So yeah. So I have an idea. I have an idea of something that's weird, but it could be really cool. So I have a recording from Srila Prabhupada from, when is this? Let me find out. Let's see.
Narasimha has appeared
Can you guys hear that?
to convince the atheist.
Not yet. Okay, let me get this
You
squared
hear
up.
it.
You hear it? You hear it?
Yeah.
For any of you on Instagram, if you go to Gauravani Music on Facebook, you'll probably get a better experience of this. But if you're on Instagram, that's cool too.
Yeah, we'll play it nice and loud. Okay, so what I was thinking we could do. Have you guys ever seen what they call reaction videos, where people are like listening to someone's track and then they stop it and like, that was sick, the way that beat dropped, the way Rajadam just turned the 7 into 6/8. Like, what just happened there, right? Okay, but instead of doing that about a track, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that about Srila Prabhupada's lecture. We're going to do a reaction video to Srila Prabhupada's lecture, okay? This lecture is Prabhupada. No one speaks about Narasimha like Srila Prabhupada. No one speaks about Krishna like Srila Prabhupada. And one of the things that growing up in the movement, having never met Srila Prabhupada, is that some of the energy of conviction and faith that Srila Prabhupada had is something that I never experienced, like, in person, But you can hear it when you hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures. You can hear him speaking, like, from such a place of faith and conviction. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? How Prabhupada's like, it's like he's seeing something that we're not seeing. You guys hear that sometimes when you're hearing Prabhupada's lectures?
Absolutely.
All right, so check this out. Let's get Srila Prabhupada on the phone here. Srila Prabhupada? Okay, wait, this one. Which one? Srila Prabhupada, are you there? Okay, hold on 1 second. Is that disrespectful? That was just a joke. Okay, let's see.
So, Narasimha has appeared to convince the atheist that there is no God. This is a lying propaganda that nobody has seen God. Everyone has seen God. The devotee sees within his heart, in the temple, and everywhere. And the atheist sees when the clock, the handles in the clock are over.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there. That's the first point. I don't know if everyone, sometimes it's a little bit hard to hear Srila Prabhupada because of if you're not familiar with his accent. But Srila Prabhupada says, that everyone's seeing God and that the atheist will see God when the hands on the clock stop moving.
Oh, is that what he said? Okay. Wow.
I picture Nrsingadev hands with razor sharp claws as the
The hands. So while we're listening, I want to do one thing. While we're listening to a little bit of Prabhupada, and I'll keep stopping it like that, I want to play, I want to show some of these images of Narasimhadev that we've been showing. Now, these are from this book by Dhruva called Narasimha the Lost Temples. And I'll be putting up a little banner to show where people can get this book, because we want to support him and the photographers and the other people that it takes to do this. So
that's another thing that just amazingly came together is, we're working now on a video with lyrics, so you can chant along with the kavacha and meditate on this, which is this powerful mantra that, you can chant it 32,000 times, or you can chant it once every day or once a week. And this mantra is so powerful. Gaura and I have been chanting this mantra since we were teenagers.
Yeah.
And we love it. And so that's another thing that came together is these amazing images that, our friend Dhruva has traveled around to all of the lost temples of India, specifically South India, but all around India. Nrsinga's worshipped everywhere, and he found these like deities that have never been seen by even people in India, what to speak of people around the world. Even in India, Nrsinga is not known. And, I remember when Gaura and we were touring around, somebody gave us a big picture of a few posters of Nrsingadev, and we were like touring to a bunch of yoga studios, and we were trying to give them to the yoga studios, and everyone in the yoga studios like, where am I going to hang this up? this lion ripping apart somebody, like, where am I going to, but, so these images are, you can check out Instagram, the God of Yoga, and the website. Gaura's got it on there, and you can order book 1, and book 2 is coming out. So these are the images from those books that are, one is released and one is to be released.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going with Srila Prabhupada here. If either of you gentlemen want to stop it, you just tell me that you want to stop, and we'll listen for a bit. Oops, my camera's off. We'll listen for a bit here. Where are we at? Okay. Yeah? Is that how it is? Okay.
By the way, Nrsingadev loves the babies. He loves the kids.
Yes, he does.
And devotee kids, you grow up,
Maharaj.
you just love them. Yeah, see,
That's a big part of the story, right? We'll tell that story. We'll tell that story in a
Prabhupada's going
second.
to talk about Prahlad.
Watching always, constantly, using others, Mahabhagavat, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Bilochanena Santas Sadaiva Hridayesu Bilochanena. Those who have developed love of God, prema, Premanjana Churita. When one's eyes are anointed with the, what is it called?
This is cool. Prabhupada's asking them, like, what's it called? He's like looking for the technical term. He was, I don't know, he was maybe mascara or something, but he's talking about the eyes being anointed with the salve of love.
Anyway, the ointment which is applied to the eyes for clear vision. So, when the ointment of love of God will be applied in our eyes, then with these eyes we shall be able to see God. God is not invisible.
God is not
Simply,
invisible.
Just like a man.
So this is an interesting thing that that Srila Prabhupada brings up in this lecture. that I really appreciated. And this story, you know, the story of Narasimha is, Prabhupada started the lecture by saying it's about the atheists versus the theists. And it's funny because today we have this kind of postmodern culture that everyone should tolerate everyone, and there's no disagreement. You can be an atheist and I can be a theist, and you know, you can believe in this religion you invented, and you can just believe whatever you like. It's just like, it's a free-for-all, right? Everyone's allowed to do whatever they want, and no one's allowed to say anything against anyone else's practice or process. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's kind of like the vibe. Like, you know, you're not allowed to say anything. No judgment. Have you ever heard that in the circles that we go around in Vish? No judgment. No judgment. Right? But Srila Prabhupada, because he's an acharya, Prabhupada's like a trailblazer. He's like a spiritual leader. Prabhupada's saying you have to apply judgment, and you have to understand that there's two antithetical views of existence. One is theist, where you put God at the center of everything. And Prabhupada's saying that you see God everywhere, right? In that mood, God is everywhere. The other one that Prabhupada's calling it atheistic. Sometimes he calls it a demon perspective. And what happens with an atheist perspective is you put yourself, your experiences, your beliefs, and your needs at the center of the universe. You know, you're bound to see things from, I don't know what anyone else thinks. I don't know what anyone else believes. All I know is what I believe, what I think, right? So one is placing God at the center, and one is placing yourself at the center. And I find it really interesting and enlightening for a great teacher like Srila Prabhupada to say, hey, there is judgment. Let's pause this for a second and say, you know what? If you have an atheistic view of things, it will lead nowhere good. And if you have a theistic view of things, it's actually going to transform the way even your senses perceive the world. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Dr. Prabhu, please share some.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly how it is in modern times, postmodernism, as you described it, where it's just a free for all, yeah, it's hard to present strongly like that, like Prabhupada presents, because of that climate, right? It's like you can't make your mark in the sand and go, look, there is a line here, and then you're either on this side or on that side. And especially if you're using strong language like atheist or demon,
yeah,
demon or something like that, it's very strong. And I mean, I could never present something like that, like Prabhupada did like that. But
does it challenge you? Does it stress you out to have it like be so clearly delineated like that? How does it make you feel when you're that way?
Yeah, because like when I analyze myself, it's like, actually, in my heart, I feel like I'm more of an atheist than, you know what I mean? It's like, because Prabhupada speaks so strongly, and there's such a high standard that, like, it feels like most of us, we kind of fall on the wrong side of that line. At least we feel like in our heart. But it's like, it's a beacon in the distance, showing us what we need to strive for. It's very strong, the presentation, but we should look at Prabhupada's also very, very compassionate in his dealings with the devotees. Always trying to lift them up and encourage them.
It's funny. I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
along the lines of what you're talking about, Prabhupada makes a point later in this lecture where he says, Prahlad, because he was a theist, Prahlad's desire was for his father's well-being, and his father, while he was an atheist, his desire was actually that his son should worship him, and if he wasn't willing to worship him, destruction. So it's interesting that Prahlad's view, that soft-hearted view, which comes from putting Krishna at the center. Had Prahlad actually ask, the first thing he asked Narasimha after this whole battle with his father, please take care of my father. So that
So
soft-hearted,
compassionate.
that soft-hearted, compassionate nature. Prabhupada saying it comes from putting Krishna at the center.
Yeah, nice.
Vish, tell us a little bit about the story of Narasimha Dev for folks who may not even know the story at all.
Well, in connection to this discussion that we're having, God manifests. Prabhupada is saying that God manifests in a specific way for everyone that approaches him in that way. So Hiranyakashipu is this demon king who wants to be the center of everything, who wants to be worshipped by everyone. And through his intense yogic practices with the intention of being immortal, he gets these boons that he will not be, he can't be given immortality. So he's given the boons that he won't die in the day or the night, in the land or the sea, in the sky or on the land, by any man or any beast and like that, by any weapon. He gets these blessings. And through those blessings, he feels that he has become immortal. He takes over the heavens, he takes over the earth, he takes over everything.
So he's basically doing yoga for all the wrong reasons.
And meanwhile, he has this son, Prahlad, who has a completely different view on the reality, which is that the Lord is present within the heart of every single living being, and that he is everywhere. And so Prahlad has no fear of his father, and Hiranyakashipu, this demon king, is so intimidated by his son Prahlad
by his lack of fear. Yeah. It's interesting. Prahlad, so to this point, Prahlad not only has no fear from his father, but Prahlad has no fear.
There's no fear. I mean, the verse says, Yad bibheti swayam bhayam, that which makes fear itself fearful, that which is the death of death itself. Mrityu namamyaham, the death of death. So that's the different ways of approaching. Everyone's going to see God, Prabhupada is saying. Everyone's going to see God. Either you're going to see him as time, which is going to end your time as death, as the claws of death, or you're going to see him as the greatest lover, which is as Prahlad saw him, as a protector, as having no fear. So you can either approach God with knowing that it's going to be a fearful experience, or you can approach God. And either way, you're going to, Krishna's going to give it to you.
Well, it's actually an interesting point that you're making, and that, that Krishna reciprocates with our desires, because Krishna is not trying to dominate us. He's trying to love us. Then however we approach him. So if we approach him as an atheist, then he's going to reciprocate in that same way, right? Impersonalistic, atheistic, you do not exist kind of mood, right? Vrajadam, you know that little analogy that they give about the jaws of the mother cat?
Oh yeah.
Can you tell our audience that nice?
Yes. So I believe the analogy is discussing the time of the time of death, I believe, and so everyone
putting you on the spot.
Everyone experiences the jaws of death at the time of death, but it's said that for the atheist, they experience those jaws as the terrifying jaws of death that have come to take you away. But the devotee, he experiences the jaws like the jaws of the mother who's picking up the small kitten. So their jaws all the same, but it's a completely different feature. So one is like the love of the mother, and the other one is like the jaws of time, the jaws of death. So very different experience at the time of death for people. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so Vish, so I'm just gonna pop up some hellos from people as you. So okay, so go ahead. So then he gets these boons that he thinks he's not gonna die on the land, in the sea, or the air, day or night, by any weapon, by man or by beast. I mean, he's not. He thinks he's got it covered with his yogic powers.
He terrorizes the universe. His son Prahlad, this 5-year-old boy, is not intimidated by him at the least. So not only is Prahlad not intimidated by him, Prahlad starts preaching to everybody and all his friends that, you should chant Hare Krishna. Like, that's the point of life, is to practice bhakti, is to be in bhakti yoga, to hear, chant, remember, serve, and that Vishnu is present in everyone's heart. And don't waste this amazing human form that you have received right now. And, so not only is he, not intimidated by his father, but he's preaching to everybody else that you don't have to live in fear of anything. Even you don't have to live in. So, whereas Hiranyakashipu, he wants to be immortal, so he's in fear of death. Right?
I love it. See, this is why I like Prabhupada's point about the dichotomy. It's important for us to understand that there is a dichotomy, and that it's like I've heard once it said that Maya, or illusion, is simply on the back of Krishna. Like, when you're not willing to be in front of Krishna, you're seeing Maya and illusion and delusion and confusion. But you just have to come around to the front.
It's not that the Maya doesn't exist, right? It's just another side of it, right? The front side. and so Hiranyakashipu, he starts torturing his little boy Prahlad, and this is a real wonderful, first of all, horrific example of abuse to children,
right?
Which Nrsimhadev is a symbol of protection for.
Yeah.
Is that Hiranyakashipu, he has his demons try to cut up Prahlad into pieces, but their weapons just they break. He throws him in a pit of serpents, but Prahlad, the serpents feel no fear or jealousy from Prahlad, so they feel like he's just one of them.
Yeah, because Prahlad sees everyone as a friend, so he throws him in a pit of snakes, and Prahlad's like, brother snake, sister snake, brother snake, and everyone's like, Prahlad! It's like a family reunion or something like that.
He tries to give him poison. Prahlad offers it to Vishnu and drinks it. Nothing happens. Throws him in boiling oil. Throws him off a cliff. He becomes light like a feather. Krishna catches him. So many horrendous ways that his father tries to abuse and kill his own son because he's so intimidated by him. And finally, he says, "Where are you getting your strength from, Prahlad? Prahlad, where are you getting your strength from that you can defy my power? I'm the king of demons. Who gave you this strength? Huh, Prahlad?" This is my little 4-year-old boy, dear Chandra. Where did you get your strength from? Prahlad answers. What does Prahlad answer, Gaura?
Prahlad says, "Oh, best of the demons." Prahlad even tries to flatter him. He's like, "Oh, best of the demons. You are so powerful. I get my power from the same place you get your power from. All power comes from the Lord."
Keep going, Gaura.
Come on, you're doing so good. Okay, Raj, then what happens? What happens, Rajadam?
Okay,
This is where the drum and bass kicks in. I think this is in the story.
All right, so Hiranyakashipu, he's not happy about that at all, and because Vishnu is his enemy, his nemesis, and so Hiranyakashipu asks Prahlad, "So, where is is he? Bring him here, bring him out. And he says, I believe Prahlad says, well, he's everywhere. And then Hiranyakashipu says, just picks like a random pillar in the palace.
He's got a lot of them. The pillars in Hiranyakashipu's palace, Bhagavatam describes that the pillars in his palace were so covered with jewels and so highly polished that all the beautiful ladies that he allowed to wander freely in his palace would just admire their reflections in the pillars. He had so many pillars. And it's described that while the ladies were allowed to roam freely, this is the mind of the atheist, while the ladies were allowed to roam freely, every man in the entire kingdom was constantly in fear of his life. Right? This is Hiranyakashipu's mood. So these highly polished, gem-studded pillars, he points at one of them, and what does he say, Rajdam?
He says, so, Prahlad, is he in this pillar? And Prahlad says,
He says, not that one. He says, not that one, the next one. He's in the one next to it.
He says, yes, he's everywhere. And you continue, please, Gaura. This is you.
Ah, come on, you're doing so good. Okay, Vish, you take it back over. What does he say, Vish?
And Hiranyakashipu says, if he's in this pillar, then I'm going to destroy him right now. And he takes his fist and he slams into the pillar. And he hears this ferocious roar. And the whole universe trembles. The atheistic woman have miscarriages because of this roar.
Man, that is intense.
And out appears this half man, half lion, and Hiranyakashipu, who has taken over the universe. He's never seen a form like this before. And it describes how Nrsingadev, Narasimha, Nara means man and Simha means lion. So he's half man, half lion. He has these sharp claws that are like razors. And he plays with Hiranyakashipu like a cat plays with a mouse. They start to have this cosmic battle. And he plays with him. He wants to enjoy. And he's also waiting. There he is. He's waiting for that time when it's going to be dusk, when it's not day or night. And he grabs Hiranyakashipu and takes him into the threshold of the palace, which is not inside or outside. And he puts him on his lap because it's not in the sky or on the land. And he's not a man or beast. He's both. And he doesn't use any weapon, but he takes his own nails, his sharp razor-like nails, and he starts to rip apart the chiseled chest of Hiranyakashipu with his razor-sharp nails. And he starts to pull out his intestines and wear them as a garland around his neck. He's the manifestation of God's protective anger energy. You know, the complete manifestation of God's anger to protect the bhakta, to protect the devotional heart. And this is why we pray to Nrsimha. This is why we invoke the blessings of Nrsimha to protect the devotional heart of the children, our devotional heart. And we pray to Nrsimha to, just like he removed the demon Hiranyakashipu, we pray to Nrsingadev to remove the demoniac propensities in our own hearts that are obstacles to our love, that are obstacles to our receiving and giving that love to God and to every other being in compassion in the world. So Nrsingadev, he kept all the boons of Lord Brahma, he kept all the boons, and at the same time, death is the final way of anyone reaching, of everyone is going to meet God as death in the end, finally, or not. So either you love Nrsimha, and he is the merciful mother lion that catches the cubs in her mouth, or you see the hands of time, as Prabhupada says. Prabhus, I have, just so you know, I have 10 more minutes. You guys are, of course, welcome to continue.
I think we're going to be finishing within that time. I thought to maybe we could go out and play a little bit more of the track. Maybe we can go to the beginning now and kind of like get the vibe from the beginning. Beautiful entrance to the track. So these stories, I suppose the last question I have for you two gentlemen is that these stories seem so fantastical, and one could say, like, what does a modern person have to do with stories like this? Like, they're just kind of completely out there, and they're violent. They're violent, right? And we kind of have this idea these days that there should be no violence, and we should be, peaceful, and we should always be, practical, scientific and practical, right? So all these kind of all of these kind of, how do I want to say them? These more intense sides of human nature are kind of pushed out, and we're encouraged to be soft, and we're encouraged to be analytical and these kinds of things. So how does a legend, right? Because a legend is like a way of reading a map, right? I like the word legend rather than myth. I find myth has an element of untruth in it, but a legend is like a way of seeing things, a map to help you understand the broader existence. So how does a legend like this, which the Vedas themselves consider a history, how does this connect with our real lives? Who we are. You, Vrajadam, you also have family, and how does this all connect with our lives? Can you give me some practical connection?
Well, it's an interesting point you said. People are all into non-violence these days, and actually, when I'm trying to explain the Gita to groups of people, when we're in the first chapter, and it's all about Arjuna and Krishna, recommending for Arjuna to engage in the war, and people are just like, but shouldn't Krishna be all peace, loving, and compassionate? Right. And have to go through the whole backstory to explain actually the justification for the war and the fact that sometimes violence, and Prabhupada explains this perfectly in his purports, that sometimes violence is absolutely necessary when you're dealing with basically malignant evil, like if you're dealing with, and there is such a thing as kind of evil in the world. It's like, so when you're dealing with if you're confronted with evil, with the negativity that's causing wrong in the world, injustice in the world, then as a last resort, Prabhupada explains that sometimes violence is absolutely necessary. And it's hard to get that point across to people these days, because it's like, no, we should be, there's no need for it.
It's funny because so many of these same folks, friends of ours, don't see anything wrong with the violence in their diet.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's such a funny talking about dichotomies, right? Differences of seeing the world, right? It's like we want to be constantly peaceful, but we want to have a violent diet. And if you tell stories of God being violent, even though you're vegetarian, that's violent, and we don't want to take part in that. We feel uncomfortable with that violence. Meanwhile, we're subsisting on violence, multiple animals with every meal. It goes back to Prabhupada's point of theist and atheist, these different perspectives on how to see reality, Vish, you have any last thoughts before we roll out with some music?
It's such a deep topic,
Oh, look, here's that. So this is my buddy. I didn't want to throw him under the bus. This is my good buddy, Robert. We were having this discussion. He's asking this question. So violence in the world today is fine and dandy, depending on the justification. And who exactly gets to make that decision in the modern world? This is the question. This is the question. And it has to do with that arbitrary, if everyone's right, then who can tell anyone what to do? If everyone's allowed to do whatever they want,
To me, first of all, in relation to the story of Narasimha, this story of Narasimha is reminding me, and a prayer every time I chant the Kavacha, every time I worship my deity of Nrsimha, every time I remember this story, it is first and foremost a reminder for me to or a prayer of removal of the demoniac propensities in my own heart, of the evil within my own heart. So if I can truly begin to embody that, the mood of Prahlad, the mood of a bhakta, the mood of a devotee, then first of all, I can trust that Nrsimha will be there to protect. That Nrsimha will be there to remove to do the violence that is necessary in the world, to remove the obstacles, to remove the demoniac, like whatever it is, evil that may come in my life. First it starts in my own heart, and that's where I think the mood of bhakti begins. Right? We start with our own heart, so we're not condoning external violence in the world, necessarily, because we're working on ourselves, and then of course, I think very practically, I think everyone would agree that when it comes to self-defense, of a defense of myself or a defense of my family, then I may have to tap into that Nrsimha energy to protect, those that don't.
Sure. I mean, that's a beautiful point. I don't think that Vedic culture condones violence, especially having a non-violent vegetarian diet as like a vital part of a practice of a bhakta. But the idea that violence is a part of life in the material world, right? That Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, this is the Mrityu Loka, this is the world of death. And so that awareness, we understand that it is a part of existence, and that we can't simply think that if someone's being violent in the world towards others, that we should just be quiet and sit idly by and allow them to do their thing, right? This is from my friend Chaitanya Mangal, who's a Latin scholar. He's actually a teacher at Boston Latin School, and he's talking about legends. Yeah, interesting. It comes from this word about legends.
Oh, right.
Rajdam is a legend.
Rajdam is a legend. He's a living legend. All right, so I'm gonna share the sound as we go out, just to ride us out for the next couple of minutes. Thank you both. Thank you everyone for joining us. We are so happy to have spent this time together. And let's see, let me go to the beginning. Let's take us out to the beginning.
And while we're hearing the end here, first of all, I want to, Gaura, you pushed this project all the way through. So super grateful for you, the artwork, the attention to every detail, of course, Rajdam, for taking this to another level, all the musicians that played on it, Colin on the sax, Nityananda
Colin Campbell on sax and bass, and Nityananda Prabhu, Sanskrit strings. If you haven't seen his stuff, he's a super cool guy, also living in India from Europe, and he's a fantastic guitar player. You can hear his playing on that song. And a new friend of ours, Seth Lieberman. Thank you, Vish, for mentioning all these artists. Very classy of you. But
Gayatri for the artwork.
Thank you, Gayatri, for the artwork. For those of you who are squeamish and don't like tattoos, don't look up Gayatri on Instagram. But for those of you who are devotees who like to see tattoos and skin, please go see Gayatri's art. He's an incredible artist. That's a little... Okay, let's see.
Dhruva for the pictures.
Yes, Dhruva for the pictures, and I'll throw up his info one more time. Let's kick this off real quick. Just let's hear the beginning.
And the track is available everywhere, so hear it now and then download it and get it.
Download it and share it. It's all on all these platforms. Get it. Spread it.
And thank you to Frank.
Thank you to Frank, our mixer master, Frank Stearns.
नृसिंहकवचं वक्षे प्रह्लादेनोदितं पुरा सर्वरक्षकरं पुण्यं सर्वोपद्रवनाशनं सर्वसम्पत्करं चैव स्वर्गमोक्षप्रदायकं ध्यात्वा नृसिंहं देवेशं हेमसिंहासनस्थितं विवृतस्यं त्रिनयनं शरदिन्दुसमाप्रभं लक्ष्म्यालिङ्गितवामाङ्गं विभूतिभिरुपाश्रितं चतुर्भुजं कोमलाङ्गं स्वर्णकुण्डलशोभितं सरोजशोभितोरस्कं रत्नकेयूरमुद्रितं तप्तकाञ्चनसङ्काशं पीतनिर्मलवाससं इन्द्रारीसुरमौलिष्टस्फुरन्माणिक्यदीप्तिभिः विराजितपदद्वन्द्वं शङ्खचक्रादिहेतिभिः गरुत्मता च विनया स्तूयमानं मुदान्वितम्
Nice. Jai Prabhu's.
The track is called Armor of Narasimha, and it should be, if you search Gauravani, if you search Vishrambar on any platforms, you should find it. Armor of Narasimha, Narasimha Kavacha.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you, Vish, for your time. Vish is rushing off to go do Abhishek Kirtan at the temple in Alachua. Vrajadam, we love you. Thank you so much. We're super grateful. And everyone, thank you for joining us. Haribol friends. And I'll just ride out with these last comments from these wonderful devotees. Hari Bol. I think Robert's seen the way. Now he's going to be very violent. Robert's going to go everywhere being violent for Krishna. No. Just kidding. Just kidding. No. Yeah. So, all right, my friends. Thank you so much. Brothers, it's lovely to be with you. Thank you for your hard work on this. This was Vish's composition, I should say. And he did the melody and the rhythm. And then the rest of us had to just try and figure out how to hang on. So, yeah.
Jai Narasimha, have a beautiful Narasimha.
Jai Narasimha, happy Narasimha Chaturthi to everybody. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, friends. Hari Bol.